Hello YouTube. Bartley coming back at you with a part 2, I guess it is now, of a 1973 Mustang restoration. I wanted to do this video because it's a pretty important step that I'm getting ready to do. So I knew all along when I got this car that I wanted to run pretty wide back tires on it, and that entails some fabrication, for the lack of a better term. Most people refer to it as mini tubbing, and it's basically where you widen or you make the wheel welds bigger so they will accommodate a wider tire. I honestly hadn't seen really any videos or forums of anyone doing this to this body style Mustang. I'm sure someone has, but I just wasn't able to find it. So I wasn't needing a whole lot of space, but I'm trying to get 315s under it for my back tires. So I did need some extra space. So what I ended up doing, and I'm not here to argue the best methods and that kind of thing. I've been doing this a long time, so I know what works for me and what doesn't. So I'm just here to show you what to catalog what I'm doing. If you do it a different way, that's fine. I'm not here to debate that kind of stuff. There's several different ways you can do this. But anyway, on this particular car, you can only get about 2 inches of extra space without really modifying the frame rail. But even to get that amount of space, it entails cutting back, or cutting this ear or lip off of the rear frame rail for a good foot or so down through there. So I've done that on both sides. Like I say, this gives me roughly 2 inches per side of extra clearance. So knowing that when I done that was going to weaken that section of the frame, I've, after a lot of thought was given to it, what I came up with was I fabricated a piece of tubing, and it fit right down in the frame rail. So I essentially, made it a box frame, basically, for, 1.5 feet down through here. And I'll show you what I've done up there in the curve of the frame rail in a second. But anyway, so yeah, and I'm gluing all this stuff. I'm not doing very little welding, because welding is the one thing that's ruining these cars. It's just it starts to rust, and there's so many places you cannot treat after you've welded, and it's just a ticking time bomb. So I'm gluing most of this car, and I've like I said, I'm not here to debate whether welding or whether gluing's better than welding or welding's better than gluing. If you weld, that's fine. I'm not here to debate that with you. I've been doing this a long time, and I've used this stuff a long time. This is actually a new glue that 3M has came out with fairly recently, but it's actually a structural, impact resistant structural adhesive. I'll show you the part number on that in a second. So yeah, I essentially just box this frame in for a section up through here. And now I'll go around to the other side over here and show you what I did on the curvature part of of the frame rail. The light's not real good over here. But anyway, what I did here was basically I put some sections where I boxed it in. I put three of them down through there to, you know, keep that from, you know, trying to flare open or you know, whatever it's going to do or going to try to do. And also I treated the inside of the frame rails with POR15. Treated here where the rear struts come through, treated all that with POR15. And anyways, yeah. And then over, you know, gosh, I wish this light would be better. Let me see if I can get a better angle on the light for you guys. So yeah, I mean, the mini tubbing aspect of it, you know, it requires, you know, that you modify the wheel weld somewhat. So I'm using, you know, roughly, you know, the 2 inches here, which turns out it's in pretty decent shape. So I'm going to use that. I got a flange tool. I'm just going to flange it, and then, you know, made it up to the other one. But that's already been, I've already dry fitted all that, and it looks like it's going to work out good. So anyway, I'll take you over here to the trunk floor. Just got done sanding both sides of it, just due to the fact that it's a lot easier to get to it now rather than try to do it when it's on the car. So last night when I was dry fitting the trunk floor, I got it where I wanted it and put screws, self-tapping screws in it to hold it in place. Then I took a can of spray paint. You can use white would be the best, or I had some chrome colored paint. But anyway, I just lightly sprayed underneath, and that made an outline of where the frame rail was going to be, so I know where I need to sand to grind the paint off to apply the glue. So it matches up perfectly whenever I put it back in there. So yeah, this I think that was about all of it. So basically, it's going to be, you know, pretty much a two-man job, you know, setting this thing in there. But once it's set in there, you just line your screw holes back up, put your screws back in, and tighten it down, let it dry for 24 hours, and it's good to go. Now, what I'm going to do with the holes, I'm sure you're going to ask, what are you going to do with the holes when you take the screws out? Well, I'm going to take them out, drill them out a little bit bigger, and then there will be a steel shanked pop rivet put in each hole, and that's just going to make it, you know, all the more stronger. Anyway, let's see. I think that's everything. So I'm going to make another video tomorrow. We got a buddy coming over to help me put this thing in. So yeah, I'm going to be putting this thing in tomorrow, get it set up. So I'm going to be gone for a few days, and I want this to be drying while I'm gone. So anyway, I'll make another one tomorrow, showing possibly showing some of the install or the prep work, and then setting it in place and screwing it down. So anyway, I will catch you guys tomorrow. Have a good day. I'm out.